What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while, or something that's been on my mind. And it's something that I really don't see much outside of YouTube or outside of social media, in my opinion. And that's mainly how these big companies or these people at the top want us to own less and rent everything or subscribe to everything, or for us to not really own anything at all. And before I get into it, if you could drop a like on this video, that would be really helpful, or hype the video up if you're on mobile, as those two things really help boost the video. And if you're new here, this is what I talk about usually, or stuff I'm interested in, so if you could subscribe, that would be really appreciated too. But now getting back into it. So I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news lately. I know some of us get really busy and don't really pay attention to most things. But one thing that really made me want to make this video was when Jeff Bezos came out and was talking about the future in AI, I believe. And one thing he brought up was mainly how he wanted us to start renting computing, or in that sense. Basically saying that in the future we're going to not own our own computers, and that the future is going to be mainly people renting out computing for whatever they need or any computing needs. And as someone who builds their own computers or really enjoys doing whatever they can on their own piece of hardware, I find this really concerning that these CEOs are just coming out here and saying this stuff so comfortably. It's like they're just spitting in our face and telling us in the future we're not going to own our own computers even, and we're going to have to be at the mercy of all these companies, even for, let's say, just doing simple things that we regularly do on our computers. And that's not the only thing that has come out recently. So if you guys haven't also seen, Nvidia's GeForce Now has new limits onto their paid tiers now. So essentially I think it's something like, I'll put it on the screen, if you reach 100 hours on your paid tier, that's essentially the limit you have for that paid tier, and any more time during the month that you use will be charged back to you. And honestly, what the hell does that even mean? So you're telling me I'm paying Nvidia to use their service, and I'm paying them to remotely use one of their graphics cards that they have wherever they are, and they're charging me to use the service as much as I want? Like, I thought that's what I was paying you in the first place. So not only do I have to pay them to use their hardware, they're charging me because I'm using it too much. But why would they make a subscription to use their hardware if there were limitations to use it? And this is another case where I'm saying they really want us to own less and pay for everything, because now I'm even being charged to play as much as I want when I have my own computer and I can play, let's say, how many hours I want in a month, and I know I'm not going to be charged for it. But let's say I didn't have the money to buy a graphics card in today's age with all the prices going up, and I'll talk about that in a bit, and I had to rent a GPU from Nvidia GeForce Now. I also have to watch how much I'm playing. So I'm paying you who knows how much every month, probably overpriced. I'll probably look up the prices for it. But then you're telling me I'm paying you this much, and then you're gonna tell me I can't play over 100 hours? Like, what? Let's be real here. What's the point of the service in the first place? So that's not the only thing that's gaming related. There's also a service that PlayStation has collaborated with in the UK to start leasing PlayStation 5s. We're so down bad right now that we're even leasing PS5s, and mind you, you have to pay for however much time you sign the contract for the lease of the PS5, and after you're done paying that lease, you don't get to own the PS5. You're gonna have to give it back. So you're paying for a PS5 that's not even yours. This makes me worry for the future of gaming, especially console gaming, because I did grow up with console gaming. What's it going to be like if this PS5 right now is getting so expensive to the point where we have to start leasing them? What about the PS6 and the next consoles that come out? They're going to be costing way more than $500, or way more than they do right now. That's going to cause more people to lease the PlayStation 6 or whatever consoles come out in the future, meaning people are going to be not owning their future consoles. There's going to be less people owning their consoles. That's pretty crazy to think about, when my childhood growing up was owning my own GameCube. owning my own PlayStation to people that have owned their own Xbox 360. Imagine having your console growing up and then worrying about not being able to keep it forever. That's just an insane thought to me. So for people that might not know or are just wondering, why is all this happening? And if you just look around, everybody's talking about AI nowadays. All the big companies are making their own AI models. And you know how they do this? Well, they're hogging up all the RAM, they're hogging up all the resources that go into making your computer components, and they're using it for these big AI data centers. So you have OpenAI scrambling to stay as the top AI business company, whatever, and they're hogging up all the RAM to where we're going to have RAM shortages pretty much going into 2028 if this AI bubble doesn't pop. So not only is this affecting RAM, this is basically affecting every other computer component. Things like SSDs. If you want a computer that loads up your games pretty fast, you most likely need an SSD for those fast loading times. Even those are going out and being overpriced. And guess what? You're not even safe with hard drives. We have Western Digital saying that now they're even selling out all their hard drives and they're pretty much all sold out for this year. So that's affecting every single piece, well, almost every single piece of your PC components. And then let's not even talk about GPUs. All these AI data centers are ordering a bunch of GPUs so they can train these AI models. So basically every single component of your PC is being overpriced or being outsold to these big companies that are focused only on AI. So this is affecting the gaming space and everything we know. And this leads up to what I was talking about before. Everything is becoming overpriced. Everything is becoming AI focused. So then what is being left for us? Nothing. Everything is getting so overpriced to the point where we can't even buy it, or it's just simply not available for us because they're prioritizing these companies over us. So then it gets to a point where, similar to how movies and music went, everything is becoming digital, everything is becoming a subscription, everything is becoming a rental service essentially, where we can't even have the option to buy it because it's just not available for us. So I don't know, it's looking very bleak for the future, especially in gaming now. And if you can, try to own as much as your own stuff as you can. Also on the software side, try to be as open source as you can, but that's a different topic for a different video I want to talk about. But if you can own something physically, if you can buy something outright and own it instead of having to pay a monthly subscription or whatever monthly payment for it, do it. It's becoming rare for us to even do that now. So if you can try to preserve that, then do the best you can to do that. And this is being seen a lot even for physical media. Basically, the PlayStation 5 is the only one left where you can pop a physical disc in and that physical disc has the full game on it. Xbox hasn't had a physical disc with the full game on it, I think, since the Xbox One, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, PlayStation is pretty much the only one left alongside the Switch, but I think even the Switch 2 is now just having mainly game key cards where you have to download the game online, and I think it's only like first party games where they really have the full game on the cartridge. So I think we're even losing it on that side. So that's why I'm saying try to preserve as much as you can. And one last thing I did want to bring up is it's crazy how this is not only affecting gaming, this is affecting basically everyday lives. So remember when Jeff Bezos talked about how we're going to start renting computing and how we're not going to have our own computers and we're going to have to outsource our computing needs? Well, HP started doing that. HP is now doing rentals for their laptops, or I think they're about to. I'll pull up a screenshot for it. But yeah, this is this is the future we're heading into for 2026 and later. Not really looking good for us. But at least for me, I'm going to try to own my own hardware for as long as possible. I was one of the few lucky people that built a new computer early last year before all the RAM prices started going up. So yep, but if you can, try to wait until this AI bubble pops before you build a new PC if you can. If you can't, that's pretty understandable, but hopefully things get better for everyone. Oh, and one last thing that just came to my mind too, even owning our own physical hardware sometimes comes with some headaches. Because I remember there was a whole thing where the Switch 2 started coming out, and people tried to mess around with the Switch 2 and looking at the hardware and trying to find ways to jailbreak it. And it was known that if you try to do anything with the Switch 2, Nintendo will just brick your own hardware that you paid with your hard-earned money. So yeah, even with our own hardware, they want us to still be controlled even if you paid your hard-earned dollars or your hard-earned currency on it. Pretty wild, right? Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. Sorry for it being a bit of a bleak video, but it was something that I thought should be talked about and something that people should know about as well when they think about owning their own stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching the video until the end. And again, don't forget to drop a like and hype up the video if you can. Subscribe if you're new here or if you enjoyed watching the video. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.